roar, growl, snarl, bellow. Welcome to Paleobites, the podcast that, like Dreadnoughtus, fears nothing. So throw all the hate mail at us. We can take it.
The hate mail's the fun part anyway.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Oh, I'll never forget the one that was from talking about, like, when they spend 12 minutes of the first 20 minutes ranting about the Denver bus system.
I was a public transit operator for a while. I had some rants.
It's like when the hosts finally got around to discussing dinosaurs, the information was extremely shallow. They seem to be interested in making bottom-of-the-barrel jokes. I'm like, you're not wrong.
I mean, I'm not a trained comedian.
I'm not either, but like there are some, to be fair, there are some comedians that get paid lots of money and are really well trained, and I see them like, I don't think I'm that funny, and I think I'm way funnier than those people.
Oh, I know I have a dry, sarcastic sense of humor that only a few people on this planet seem to be able to take.
Right.
And most of them are professional drivers.
Right. Oh, for sure. Now, to be fair, some of the comedians that I don't like, maybe the reasons are cultural, because I listen to a lot of Australian comedians, and a lot of them I find very funny, but there's this one group they keep banging on about called Anti-Donna. It's this 3-man comedy group that have all these skits, and they have like a film crew. They have such a high production value, and their jokes are so dumb, and they get paid by the Australian broadcasting company. The government pays for them to do this, and I'm just like, you guys just are not funny. I mean, look, they're very successful, so a lot of people like them, but I've just been like, I don't. It's like absurdist. It's like I don't know. It's
so I'll spotlight then a comedy group that I like and I stumbled upon because of my book club.
Yeah,
they're based here in North America. They're actually a Native American group called the 1491s.
Oh, I've heard of this, where it's like, yes, I love their Native American group, right?
They are, and you want to talk poignant
It's
humor
like back to the good old times.
No punches. It's brilliant humor.
That's a brilliant name for a Native American comedy group, 1491s. Oh, yeah. Back in the good old days, before it all went to hell.
Basically.
Oh, man. I guess, was it not Columbus Day, I apologize. Indigenous Peoples Day.
Columbus Day anymore.
Is coming up. Oh, it's tomorrow as of recording. So, and hey, it's a good thing we're talking about, because this week we're talking about one that is named after some words in the Native American Crow tribe. We're talking about, and I'm going to mispronounce this for sure, Suuwassea?
Bugger if I pronounce any better. I would have to hear someone...
Do you have any experience with the Crow tribe at all?
None, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure there's surely another name for them, right? Because I just
most likely, and I do try out of kindness to keep track of how names shift, but sometimes I need the old right beside the new so I can make that connection and correction.
Right, I remember that, so for Age of Empires 3, which is the one that was specifically dealt with colonialism, there was an expansion that had some Native American tribes, and then they called them the Sioux, and then something else, and apparently those aren't quite the names that they're meant to have anymore. So when did the remaster edition, I guess, for definitive edition, that's the definitive edition for Steam to release it, which is still very popular right now, they consulted with actual Native American people.
Well, that's cool.
And then had it changed certain ways, and to make it more respectful rather than stereotypical like a lot of it was before.
Nice.
So that's cool. Although some of the things they did, I think, kind of sanitize it a little bit, because in Age of Empires you advance through the ages, right? You ever play Age of Empires? Yeah.
I haven't played it, but I've played games like it on cell phones.
So you get a bunch of resources, then you advance to the next age, which is basically the next tier list, a higher ranking tier of technology, whatever. And the first age in Age of Empires 3 was called the Discovery Age. The second age was originally called the Colonial Age. Then they renamed it to the Commerce Age. And I'm like, that's kind of sanitizing it a little bit. It was still colonialism.
Yeah, that's definitely sanitizing.
Yeah, but I get why they did that. But it's kind of hard to ignore that part of but again, I get why they wanted to do it, because it was a fascinating part of history.
Yes.
If you ignore all the terrible stuff, which is 90% of it.
In and of itself is fascinating if that's your cup of tea.
Oh, for sure. It's and they had 8 factions, not all of which went to the New World. Originally, the original 8 factions they went were just European ones, and they were about going to the New World. Now, some of them are obviously went to the New World, like the British, the French, the Dutch, the Spanish, and the Portuguese. They obviously went to the New World, and you can play as them. But but the Germans. But some of them were a bit like, I had to look them up. Did they go to the New World? Like the Russians? Turns out they did, mainly in Alaska, the other way. But what was the other one? The Ottomans did not go to the New World.
No, they never made it to North America.
But you could play as them. I think they wanted a Middle Eastern faction for variety. That's a stretch.
Yeah, that's a stretch. They could have gone with the Chinese and gotten away with some history. Because I've heard that there's evidence that perhaps one dynasty of China may have gotten to the coast of California.
Oh, interesting. Oh, back in the day.
Yeah.
It's sort of like Leif Erikson hitting Newfoundland.
Pre-Columbus.
Yeah. It's like, Columbus just really wasn't notable at all, except for how terrible he was, wasn't he?
He was a bit of a jackass.
A bit of a jackass is putting it very mildly.
Well, how much do you want this taken over by the Velociraptors?
Of course, yes. Like what was wrong with Columbus? Would you like me to answer chronologically or alphabetically?
How many
Velociraptors are we going to have in from all the swearing from talking about the terrible stuff he did?
Exactly.
So let's get around that by talking about Suuwassea, which means ancient thunder from the language of the Native American Crow tribe. Type is a dicraeosaurid sauropod, a group of long-necked dinosaurs whose most famous representative is probably Amargasaurus. Now, you were telling me that a Pokemon was named.
Yes.
Yeah, Pokemon was inspired by Amargasaurus. I love when Pokemon uses prehistoric animals as inspiration.
Well, they've been doing that kind of since the beginning.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, we could do a whole episode on fossil Pokemon.
Right, oh, yeah.
And the animals that inspired the Pokemon.
Yep, a bunch of different dinosaurs, a bunch of different animals, occasionally a mime. A pair of car keys, like batteries.
Yeah, but if you look at the actual fossil Pokemon, they actually do quite a bit with them.
Nice.
They even play tribute in one of the more recent series to the Bone Wars.
Oh, nice. Between Neil Charles Bosch. I learned something recently. You know that thing about how coprolites are named after Edward Drinker Cope? Turns out that's not true. That's an urban myth. Coprolites actually come from the Greek kopris, which means poop. It was just a coincidence.
That's funny. But also shows you how much scientists find ways to rely on their inner child.
Right. So, but I just remember hearing for so long, it's like, coprolites named by Theo Charles Marsh as a dig at Edward Drinker Cope. I'm like, well, no. I mean, that'd be funny, but yeah.
Funny, yeah.
But yeah. Size 45 to 46 feet, so 14 to 15 meters long, 5 to 6 tons, which seems big, but
I've driven trucks bigger.
I was going to say, for a long neck in North America in the Jurassic, that's pretty small.
That's small for a long neck in general, isn't it?
There are a few that are smaller. Like, we're talking like Rapidosaurus, I guess, is about that size. I mean, I guess if you go to the basal sauropods like Plateosaurus and Roigosaurus, and those are obviously smaller. There's one called Brachytrachelopan that I think is hilarious in how small it is. Because it also has a really, really short neck, which is ironic for a long neck.
Ironic, yeah.
And I guess like Nigersaurus is pretty small, but that one's notable. It has like 5,000 teeth. It has like a duckbill head, but for a long neck, and it has 5,000 teeth in there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'll do an episode on that someday. So speaking of which, this is a herbivore, obviously. Carnivorous sauropod. Can you imagine?
At most, I could see them eating quantities of fish if they were carnivorous.
Right. The only thing I could see is the only hunting method a carnivorous sauropod could do, I imagine, is they boom, 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 but they do it in a way where they don't realize that they're above them, and they just look up, pluck, just pluck stuff off the ground like a stork.
I mean, so there's evidence in North America that deer, if they find a baby bird on the ground.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure some of them would have dabbled, because occasionally animals go outside of their diet because they need the nutrients for I think I saw a terrible video once about a horse eating a baby chicken. So that was something I've tried to repress from my memory, and now it just came crawling back. I remember one time I had to Google how to learn it's like I found one of those shock images, and I'm like, and I Googled how to repress a memory of an image that you saw that disturbed you on the internet. Apparently this whole article's written about that. So
that does not surprise me.
Absolutely. Time Late Jurassic, 156 to 146 million years ago. Location Montana, the uppermost parts of the Morrison Formation specifically. It was described in 2004. Pop culture appearances, a hot, sweet 0. I shall fix this as putting my mixed Megazoic book whenever I get around to it. So you'll probably draw it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. Just so you know.
That works.
Okay, cool. So I don't know if you realize this, but there are a ton of long-necked dinosaurs in Jurassic North America, and presumably worldwide too. The Jurassic was this group's time to shine. They came in all shapes and sizes, or at least all shapes with a long neck and tail.
I mean, if they're filling the same ecological niche that, say, deer and elk are in North America, that doesn't surprise me that there would be a wider range of species.
Well, it makes sense because deer are more browsers, right? They're not really
are.
grazers, right? So,
Yeah.
So, and these would have been browsers as well. So,
Yeah.
obviously for much bigger and higher trees, but yes.
Much, but it seems like they were occupying a similar ecological niche
Right.
to what we would consider common herbivores here. In
Right,
North America.
absolutely. As well as there being a lot of long-necked dinosaurs, there are also a lot of different families of long-necked dinosaurs. There wasn't just like, oh, these are all the long necks and they're all in one family. No, there's so many different types of long necks,
Well,
subtypes.
that's not surprising. I mean, when you look at the evolutionary tree of life,
Absolutely.
how complicated it is.
Yeah, so you got the long diplodocids, which are the ones with long necks and tails and small bodies, like Apatosaurus, Barosaurus, and Diplodocus. You got the ones that are stockier, like Camarasaurus, Brontomerus. Those are called Camarasaurids. Brachiosaurids, like Giraffatitan, Brachiosaurus, and Sonorosaurus. To the Turriosaurians, like Oplosaurus and Zibby. Yes, that last one is real. And yes, I've done an episode on it already. It's just spelled ZBY, by the way.
Okay, what scientist got bored?
It was named after Polish guy. I think it was George S. Zibizuski.
Oh.
So they picked that part of his name to name, instead of just calling it Georgosaurus. Zibby is just—it's such a fun name, but it's like when I think of a dinosaur named Zibby, I don't think of a 60-foot long behemoth of a long. I think of like a tiny little oh, look at these little Zibby crawling around.
Or something like Compsognathus?
Right. Instead of like a herd of Zibby stomp majestically across the beaches of Portugal, which they were from. Yeah. Watch out! The Zibby are stampeding! Run!
It does sound kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, like I can't imagine Richard
But then
Attenborough.
again, think about what people name snowplows and boats these days.
Wait, snow? Are you talking about like a Zamboni?
No, snowplows for the roads.
Oh, really?
Yep.
What do they name them?
I'd have to.
And also, they name those?
Yes, CDOT hosts competitions for kids every year to name the snowplows.
The like boats, kind of like this is the ice pusher, the icebreaker.
There's childish versions of Bodie McBoatface out there.
Snowy McSnow pusher or something.
There's versions.
Right, it's like I push more white powder than just snow. How about
that wouldn't get past the parents?
Oh no, I'm talking about sugar, obviously, and flour. What would you think I was talking about?
You have to understand how dirty-minded some of the
No, I
parents
know.
are.
That was a joke. All right, so also there was the Rabachisaurus, like Xenoposeidon and Marapunisaurus. Like you get the idea. There were a ton of these dinosaurs, and they all weighed multiple tons. So there was far more than a ton of them, actually. But there was also another group I didn't mention, the dicraeosaurids, which includes the more famous Amargasaurus, the ridiculously short-necked, long-necked Brachytrachelopan, and this Suuwassea. I know there isn't anything particularly special about the dicraeosaurs. I was just building them up to Suuwassea for dramatic effect.
Yeah, it worked.
So these dinosaurs are named after the words of the Native American Croat tribe for ancient and thunder. So I guess the Greek version would have been, Paleobrontus.
So then that name sounds better.
Paleobrontus?
No.
Suuwassea? Yeah, I love it that they're doing more than just Greek and Latin now. Like,
Yeah,
especially if
it's
it's from an area that like
It's nice to see the expansion.
I think it started with the Chinese dinosaurs, and when they also kind of merged it too, they're like Shanhanosaurus. Suuwassea was the largest of its family, tied with the namesake Dicraeosaurus. While 40 feet long is certainly nothing to sneeze at for most creatures, it's definitely on the smaller side for sauropods. But the thing is, the Dicraeosaurids are actually pretty closely related taxonomically to the Diplodocids. So it's weird that these are so small, I guess. But it astounds me how scientists can look at these usually incomplete bones and look at an incomplete sampling of an incomplete family tree and somehow figure out a way to work with all this mess and make something coherent out of it.
Oh, I would love to get one of them to talk our ears off for a day.
Right. But it's that's not to say they always figure it out in the objective sense, as there are plenty of times that scientists publish conflicting papers of their own distinct cladograms representing how all these fossilized remains of dinosaurs all fit together. Scientists squabble,
Oh, yeah. But ain't that the nature of how it works?
Yeah.
Somebody publishes a paper, someone says, no, it was actually this. They squabble, they compare notes, and eventually come to a conclusion, right?
Right, absolutely. I still think it astounds me, and I bring this up all the time as a version of this. It astounds me that Pluto lost its planetary status due to a vote.
See, I was told another story that was a good deal more entertaining.
Right, it was like the national the science whatever astronomy sort of thing. They voted on it, and I'm like, Pluto's the same cosmic object no matter what we call it. But
so the story I was told, was when Eris was discovered just outside of Pluto's orbit. Astronomers got into a fist fight over it.
Oh, that's great. I could see that, because that's the thing. That's actually why I'm pro Pluto not being a planet, because I think it moves science forward, and we can't have the original 9 anymore. Even if we count Pluto, we'd have to count Eris, we'd have to count Sedna, we'd have to count Makemake, Orcus, Ceres, so many.
Through the roof.
It would be 50. Exactly. We'd either have the 8 planets we have now, or we'd have 50.
Basically.
So we'll never have that original 9. Also, from an OCD standpoint, I like that it's 4 rocky planets, asteroid belt, 4 gassy planets. That 9th planet ruined it for a while. It was an outlier that always drove me crazy. So actually, when I heard there was no one planet, I was kind of like, thank God. I can finally rest at night and watch this. That makes me the bane of almost everyone's. People feel sorry for Pluto. It's who? It's a hunk of rock.
It's a hunk of rock.
It's the same hunk of rock it was before we changed what we called it.
Exactly.
It's all human. It's sort of like how, speaking of going back to paleontology, what a species is really just man-made. Obviously it's certain species is to animal that can reproduce amongst itself, I guess. But then that means from a biological standpoint, my Megazoic books, I've told you about this, right? Where they all breed together because they breed through, they have their DNA. Technically that means they're all biologically the same species.
Technically, yeah. But you're talking work of fiction versus...
No, I know, but then also there are some people with Neanderthal DNA in them. How does that work? Because usually when you make a hybrid, they can't breed. But sometimes they can. And then so it's it's all kind of muddled and
Well, that's the world of science, though. I suppose lots of gray areas. But that's what makes it more interesting.
Remember when ligers were popular thanks to Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah. Yeah. That whole craze.
So there are so many things where I look back and what the early 2000s style of random cheese bob, bacon humor. It's
late 90s, early 2000s.
Lulz random, kind of. It's just you remember the Demented cartoon movie?
Oh, good grief.
Kamikaze watermelon.
For those of you who don't know, that's a strange corner of the internet.
Blah, blah.
Maybe you want to go there, maybe you don't.
I don't know how we got from Suuwassea to that, but go watch the Demented cartoon movie. It's on YouTube, guys. That's 30 minutes of your life you will never get back at. I think I've watched it at least 3 times. So that's an hour and a half of my life. That's just wasted.
For reference, I knew some people who watched it enough to memorize it.
Anyways, one thing I'll end on here with Suuwassea, because there's really not much else to other than just it's kind of just a generic sort of. I guess the fact that it's a dicraeosaurid, but in North America with all the other ones, that's kind of cool. I don't usually hear about them up there. They're usually South America, like the Margosaurus,
Yeah, you do generally hear more about South American dinosaurs.
Well, and also South American ones of this one, particularly. Argentina has so many dinosaurs. So many damn dinosaurs. So much. Every inch. It's a geological formation that has dinosaurs. Every inch of it. It's just...
It seems so.
It's but Suuwassea, yeah. So the Morse information, though, I bring this up. I'm amazed how big it is. Because, the fact that it's in Montana and also in here, but it's also in Texas, apparently.
Oh, that's a good range.
It is a good range. But also, Dinosaur Ridge is the end of Morse information. You've been to Dinosaur Ridge, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's that, because that one side of that mountain is Cretaceous. The other side is the Morse information in the Jurassic. With all those footprints, that's the Cretaceous side. If you live in the Denver area and you haven't gone to Dinosaur Ridge, go there. It's one of the most incredible fossil sites that's within a reasonable driving distance to a big urban area. So
it really is within reasonable driving distance from Denver.
Because, obviously, probably from an objective standpoint, Dinosaur National Monument is a more cool and big dinosaur thing, but it's also in the middle of nowhere. So
yeah,
I mean, for me, I'm an urban. You're going out in nature.
Well. that, and I drive for my living, so me driving long distances in one day
Right.
ain't that big a deal.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Have you ever delivered to to Utah on that road?
Not yet.
Oh.
But there is rumor that we are going to be getting some Salt Lake line haul runs.
Oh, nice. So if you take that route, you should take a stop at Dinosaur National
Where
Monument.
the hell am I going to park a set of doubles?
You'll find a place.
Not really.
Just pull off the side of the road. No, I know it's not a thing you do.
I mean, I've heard a few stories of some of our line haul guys doing that to go to the bathroom in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, that's cool. Good on them. All right,
But,
let's rate
maybe edit that
Suuwassea.
out.
Let's rate Suuwassea 1 out of 6 10 million. I think it's gonna get like a 22 million from me because like it's. I mean, I guess it's notable in that it's not notable. Like, it's notable in that it's like a little long neck from when all the big long necks. And it is a cool name. The fact that we respect the culture, where it's from with the name, I think that's a cool thing. So I'm gonna give it 22 million.
I'd stick 20 to 22 million as well.
Yeah.
Just it's a generic sauropod, but it is cool that it's from North America, that they've started expanding the languages that they're naming creatures from. It's a nifty sounding creature.
Yeah, it is. It is. And like, I don't know, it's interesting to see. Like, man, there's just like so many long necks in this area. Oh my god, you think just so many? Like, it's just Allosaurus, them Torvosaurus, they're all having a feast, man.
They really are.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for this week. If you want to get a hold of the show, you can contact me at paleobitespodcast@gmail.com, paleobitespod on Twitter, and paleobitespodcast on Instagram. Or if you want to contact me personally at mattd@methodonCreator.com. Natasha, where can they find you?
So right now I'm starting to be a bit more active on Instagram.
Yes, I've noticed. I've tried
You can find me at NK Arts and Crafts.
Yes, I have liked quite a bit of your stuff.
That's where I'm posting a lot of art stuff that I'm up to right now.
Ooh, is this like an ammonite? Oh, it's a pumpkin. Okay.
Let's see. I am on Facebook.
Yeah, but Facebook's kind of a weird one. Unless you have a professional Facebook account, it's not like they're going to ask. It's not like you're going to ask people to send you a friend request on Facebook.
Yeah. I'm possibly going to rebuild my Etsy sites. That's up for debate, just because I am trying to shift more to focus on my photography.
Gotcha. I have book series on Amazon Megazoic available for print and Kindle. No Suuwassea in it because I didn't know of it at the time. But like I said, I might include it in the next, if I ever go back to that series, which I think about a lot. And yep, that's it for this week. It's at the end of every episode of Paleo Bites. I was gonna make a crow sound because of the crow tribe, but not gonna do it. No, you can do a crow.
Oh, I can make fun of the birds, but I don't want it coming across as making fun of the people.
I'm not. That's why I wasn't gonna do the stereotypical Native American sound like doing Peter Pan. I'm talking about the crow.
I'm talking about the bird.
Yeah, do the bird. I'm not gonna do the. I'm not gonna. No, Oli, I'm not touching that with a. I apologize for the joke, but it's low hanging fruit. I'm not gonna touch that with a totem pole.
There we go.
I apologize for the stereotypical. That was low hanging fruit. Anyways, this is a crow I can do.
Oh, just get something off the internet.
Yeah.
Because they do have a very unique set of calls.
They do. And also, I'm probably canceled at this point. Anyways, bye.